In 1 week, we will know who the 2024 champion is, and we know the 4 guys who are going to be competing for it. We had controversy at the end, plus a walk-off win, and Kim Coon will tell us what it was like to interview William Byron moments after he found out he was in.
NASCAR Daily with Shannon Spake.
Well, happy Monday after the elimination race in Martinsville. What a weekend it was. We had everything, right? We had fights, we had emotion, we had a walk-off win, and we had controversy. It is November 4th. We're going to get to all of that here on NASCAR Daily. We're going to hear from your big winner, Ryan Blaney, who's going on to compete for championship number 2. Plus, we're going to hear from William Byron, Christopher Bell, Elton Sawyer. Kim Coon is going to join us. She was right there in the middle of everything that took place. We've got a lot to get to today. But first, let's take a look at how the race was won. Ryan Blaney getting the huge walk-off win. And here's how Lee Diffie called it.
Last week at these 2 corners, 3 and 4, he lost the lead and lost the chance. He lost sleep over it. Ryan Blaney's not losing anything here in Martinsville. He wins and is going to Phoenix.
All right. We're going to hear from Ryan Blaney in a second, all right? But first, we have to kind of go back a little bit further in the field to where all the controversy took place. First, we'll start with William Byron. So for lap after lap after lap in those closing laps, he had just a team of Chevrolets behind him. Some might have said, hey, can the 1 or the 3 potentially pass William Byron, which would, of course, affect the way that things kind of played out, or maybe allow someone else to pass William Byron. I don't know. Then there's this one, the 20 of Christopher Bell. And this was the big one, right? So did he ride that wall like Ross Chastain rode the wall? He was able to advance, or tie, I should say, William Byron with that move because he passed Bubba Wallace on that final lap. The tie then went to Christopher Bell because he had better finishes throughout the season. However, NASCAR said, whoa, we got to take a look at this because this might not be a move that's actually legal because we said you can't do it. Let's hear what William Byron and Christopher Bell said when they first climbed from the car before NASCAR made the decision.
Yeah, there's a rule against it. We all sat in meetings and talked about whether there should be a rule against it. And he front tires were off the ground coming off of 4 there against the fence. So, yeah, it happened in the past and it was fair game, but now the rule's against it. So I don't see how you can call it any different.
I knew that I had to get past the 23 and got really loose. Got really loose getting into turn 3, and once I got in the marbles, I was in the wall. So I had no intention of riding the wall. That's unfortunately where I ended up, trying to get all I could get, and yeah.
It's a shame that this is what we were focused on after the race because, of course, NASCAR needed to make a decision. It has everything to do with the championship 4. So they took their time. They did make a decision. And when they did, they deemed that it was a racing move that was not legal. So here's what Elton Sawyer had to say to Alex Weaver about that move and their decision.
If you go back a couple of years ago now when we had the situation with the 1 car on the last lap and riding the wall, we met with the industry, we met with the drivers, and everyone to a man decided that was not something that we could tolerate. We didn't want that move to be accepted. We had language in the rule book. It is a safety violation, and when we saw the 20 car, that's exactly where we went. We looked at it a couple different times just to make sure, and that was the call.
Okay, so NASCAR then says it was not a legal move. Then Christopher Bell is not allowed to have that finish. Then William Byron finds out that he is moving on to the championship 4. Immediately after this decision came down, both of those drivers then spoke to the media again, and here's what they had to say then.
I'm not happy for anything, but the rule is what it is for the crossover gate over there and riding the wall, so it is what it is. I will go race and just proud of my team. We had a really hard-fought day overall, so proud of that.
I don't know what to say. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
You feel like the move was made and then you came off the wall, correct?
Well, I mean, I understand that the rule was made to prevent people from riding the wall, but my move was completely different than what Ross's was. I got loose getting into the corner and slid right into the fence. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
All right. So Elton Sawyer also said this is not appealable. So it's a race violation. You cannot protest them. You cannot appeal them. It's no different than an uncontrolled tire or too many men over the wall. They also said that they're going to look at the data surrounding the 23 Toyota of 2311, of course, some of the audio that we heard over the radio communication, and the Chevys, specifically the 3 and the 1 that were riding behind William Byron. But I think William Byron said it perfectly. He said, I'm not happy for anything, even though he just found out he was moving to the championship 4. And I couldn't help but think like it wasn't great that we were not focusing on the fact that Ryan Blaney had just won this race, incredible walk-off win, and the controversy and the questions around that 4th spot were what we were focused on post-race. So we'll see if anything else comes down the rest of the week once NASCAR gets back here to the Charlotte, North Carolina area and kind of digs through everything. But let's move on from that and let's celebrate the win from Ryan Blaney because it was incredible. He's done this so many times, right? I think this is his 3rd time that he's won an elimination race. Of course, won this race last year to advance to the championship 4 and how has a chance at back-to-back championships. This is what he said when he climbed for the car, and he laid it all on the line, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm worn out. I got nothing left. Oh my God, I'm tired. So good battle, and just the car hung on longer than most and could really make some ground. So yeah, they just worked on the car all night, so I really appreciate them. Everybody who makes this thing possible, Roush Chase Engines and 12 boys are awesome. So let's go.
Let's go. He can become the first back-to-back Cup Series champion in the knockout-style playoff format since 2014 and can become the first back-to-back Cup Series champion since Jimmy Johnson in 2006, 2007. So when we talked all about the history that Joey Logano could potentially make by winning 3 championships, look at what Ryan Blaney has the potential to do once we leave Phoenix next weekend. Okay, so let's take a look at the guys who did move forward to the championship 4. I just mentioned Joey Logano. We know Ryan Blaney. They're going to join Tyler Reddick and William Byron. Logano, a 2-time champion. Tyler Reddick, this is his first championship 4. Ryan Blaney won last year. William Byron looking for his first Cup Series championship, but remember he started off the season with that big Daytona 500 win. And when you look at the guys who were eliminated, Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, 13 wins this season between those 4 guys. So a lot of star power going home, but a lot of star power moving forward to Phoenix. All right, one person that was right there in the middle of everything yesterday is Kim Coon. You can find her on social media at Kimmy Coon. Let's start with the positive stuff, Kim, because you and I were just discussing the win by Ryan Blaney, just how big this was. You had his pits yesterday, so while you were getting ready for this race, coming off Homestead, he was a man on a mission. What was everybody in the garage saying about that 12?
Yeah, they all were pointing to the 12 as the one to beat, which he ended up being the one. Even Martin Truex Jr. and that team, I talked to James Small, they won the pole. They felt good about their car. And James said, if we want to win this, we've got to get past the 12. So there were a lot of fingers pointing at the 12 team as the one to beat because they had the best long run car in practice.
All right, the controversy between Christopher Bell and William Byron. I was like, yes, Kim is right there. She's interviewing William Byron, and we have her on the show tomorrow. What were the conversations between the time he climbed out of the car and the time that he found out that he was in? Because I know Jeff Gordon was right there talking to him the whole time.
Yeah, it was really interesting. The one thing I want to say before we talk about that is I don't think people got a good sense of everybody that was around William Byron. So it was him and I standing there. You could see, his PR person, Ashley, you could see Jeff Gordon, but there were probably close to 50 people just waiting to pounce once, the verdict came down. And I tried not to get too, eavesdroppy when it came to him talking with Jeff. So I kind of gave them their privacy, but they were kind of scratching their heads like, what's taking so long? What's it going to be in terms of the decision? And also just Jeff coming and saying, you ran a really good race. And so it was a lot more just kind of trying to digest what was happening and what NASCAR could be ruling than anything else.
William Byron, he said, I'm not happy for anything when you asked him that question. Was that sort of the feeling and the vibe throughout all those other 50 people that were standing there? Or was there a sense of excitement from anybody realizing that they have a chance at a championship?
It's strange because, William Byron ultimately gets a spot in the championship 4, and there was not really a single bit of celebration by anybody down there. I talked about all those people that were surrounding. It felt like a collective breath holding. Like nobody wanted to talk. It was very quiet. Nobody wanted to move. They were all just, again, holding their breath to see what NASCAR was going to say about the finish. I respect William for not being super excited. On the flip side, Christopher Bell lost a spot in the championship 4, plus just the dramatics of it, the tension. I don't think the 24 team, were going to be able to celebrate until they kind of took a breath, did all their post-race media, and really thought what it means to go to Phoenix next week after processing what had just happened.
Says a lot about William Byron's character, for sure, the way he handled that. Before I let you go, what do you think about these 4 drivers that are for a championship?
I love this mix because we've got 2 drivers that were in the championship 4 last year. And so I think that just shows that they were able to have consistency this season. And then in the mix, we've got 1 driver who has never been in the championship 4, Tyler Reddick. We've got 2 past champions in Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano, and then Tyler and William looking for their first. So I think, and we've got all 3 manufacturers. So I think this is the perfect mix of teams and drivers in the championship 4. I'm going to wait to decide who I think is going to win the championship until I kind of catch the vibe of how they're handling the media this week.
And of course, history could be made. Joey Logano looking for his 3rd championship, while Ryan Blaney is looking for back-to-back. Kim Coon is where you can find her. Have so much fun in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And thanks for waking up early with us.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Wow. There's going to be a lot to digest this week, a lot to digest this morning, and certainly as we head to Phoenix for the championship 4. Best day ever. I'm just going to give it to the fans because it was a weekend to remember in Martinsville from start to finish, from the Truck Series race to Xfinity to, of course, Cup Series and beyond. I'm going to give it to the fans because it was everything that you want from an elimination race. We are going to get you caught up on everything that happened in both the other series tomorrow, plus Social Speedway. So we will see you on Tuesday. Everybody have a great Monday.
NASCAR Daily with Shannon Spake.